I'm telling you now, this boy is special.
How'd you have the rounds?
Every single one to Ennis.
Yeah. The low blow gave Avanesyan a little bit of time to reset. Second round, he came out better.
Yeah, Avanesyan's 35 on the back end of his career, but he always gives everyone a tough fight.
I don't think he had enough time to prepare.
The big one will be is what's Ennis's next fight?
Crawford doesn't have a reason to fight him, but if you beat for Ennis, like Spence is a huge name, isn't it? Either way, that's a big fight.
Not yet, I don't think.
I think after that. Welcome back to BoxCast. Today we are going to review the fight, the after fight of Jaron Boots Ennis and David Avanesyan. So Simon, what did we predict first? Go on.
You predicted an Ennis round 8 knockout.
Okay, so I was a little bit off. What did
And
you have?
I predicted a round 4.
It was close. He was nearly there in round 4. So the result was a round 5 stoppage at the end of the round by the
TKO,
doctor.
isn't it? Retired on his stool.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they wanted to stop his corner, but he was a bit like
No, I
the
think
jaw
his
was a bit
corner
out.
did.
One of the doctor called it because they were trying to get him up, isn't it? But the doctor said no, it's over. He's a beast. He could have carried on. He could have got to round 8 and stopped at the right time.
Avanesyan would have carried on. He's one of them. He does not quit.
What do you think of the low blow in the first round?
Are we even discussing that?
Yeah. It was his own fault because he pushed his head down. Exactly. Really? It wasn't on purpose. It was accidental. So, yeah. But he had his rest. The thing is, I think Ennis came out the blocks quite strong. Like as if, we're going to make a statement here.
Yeah.
And I think actually the low blow with a little bit of rest gave David Avanesyan a little bit of time to reset because after that he was actually better.
Avanesyan is one of them fighters. He will just keep coming forward and not stop throwing punches. He'll wait for you to stop throwing and then he'll throw. And that's what he's renowned for. He always does. Then he caught Ennis a few times, but Ennis has got a jaw of granite by the looks of things.
I'm not sure it's with granite. If we take granite as like Triple G, then we work down. Well, Triple G is a diamond level, I think hardness. So yeah, maybe granite level jaw.
Oh,
but he's got a good jaw.
Ennis is the real deal.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, this boy is special.
How'd you have the rounds? Just as a quick score. I had them all to...
I give every single one to Ennis.
And a 10-8 on the last.
Yeah.
This was called off.
Every single one to Ennis.
Yeah.
His hand speed is superb.
Yeah, and variation of punches.
And don't forget, he's been up the ring for a while as well, because I think there was a bit of a worry of ring rust. But
didn't really see any.
No. I mean, he took a couple of shots when he was
Well, I think
bit lazy pulling that jab.
He came out and to blow him away, and I think he was doing pretty good. The low blow gave Avanesyan a little bit of time to reset, probably have a little think of, wait a minute, what do I need to adjust slightly? He adjusted, got to the end of the first. Second round, he came out better because he started catching him with his right hand timing a little bit and catching him with his right hand. Because he caught him like not cleanly, I think, first one, and then he caught him with a clean shot, which he took quite well. I mean, yeah, he was getting hit with about twice as many shots to get that one shot, but
no, I
he started catching him quite a lot.
Yeah,
with the right hand.
Boots was targeting the body a lot to bring that uppercut into play, which was working. I mean,
he caught him a few times with the uppercut in the first round. Thing is, in the fourth and even the fifth, Avanesyan caught him with a few uppercuts. One of them was really, really good. And he caught him with a lot of right hands in the second and third round. And then he caught him with a few. But yeah, I think it was a bit more of Ennis Boots being a bit like allowing him to throw for you so he opens up and then he can either counter or just hit, open gaps
he's
to catch him. Did you see in the first round where he got him with the jab through his side guard? He was like,
he's got good power. Again, a lot of people say he's not the most exciting fighter in the world because he picks his shots beautifully.
I think he was trying here. It wasn't that exciting because he did have his pedal on the metal from the beginning.
Look how many knockouts he's got.
Mm-hmm.
He wears opponents down, picks his shots fantastic.
He's not a one-punch guy. I don't think he's got the one-punch power. At least from there. Although Avanesyan is tough as leather, old leather. So he's not the easiest to get down. But I think he's more he's heavy-handed with more than one punch. He loads up. And yeah, Avanesyan's face wasn't in the greatest of states. That's why he got stopped. So
I think Ennis's performance was better than Crawford's.
Yeah.
I do.
I still think Crawford beats him, though, quite easily as well. Not
No, I completely disagree with you.
I think he gets caught too many times.
I completely disagree with you.
Crawford is, if you make a mistake against Crawford, he's going to get you out of there. I think he's good. I think he's probably afterwards, he's probably the best. I think he'd have a tough fight against the old Errol Spence. We don't know whether the new one is there. And I think Crawford beats him. Tough fight, but I think Crawford beats him. And
Crawford does not beat him easily. I'm telling you now, he does not beat him easily.
Not easily. I think it'll be a tougher fight because he's got.
Do you know why it's a
engine,
tougher fight? It's not just that. He's got a fantastic jab which he can use at range to keep Crawford at bay. He can fight in close.
Crawford will work.
He can fight on the back foot. No, but you can't just say, "Oh, Crawford's this." Yeah, Crawford is great, but when Crawford will go, "All right, I can deal with his long jab." But then Crawford's got to go, I'll do a deal with him on the inside. Then Crawford will have to go, I'll do a deal with counter-punching.
He's done it before.
He's never fought anyone like Ennis. I guarantee you he's never fought anyone like Ennis.
I think it's
before.
more Ennis hasn't fought anybody like
No,
Crawford.
you're wrong.
Ennis is good. Crawford is
I'm not saying
elite level.
Crawford does win, but he will not win it easily. I guarantee it's not an easy fight.
No, it's going to take him time to work him out because obviously his work rate is high. He's younger. He's got the engine. He's got a good chin as well. He's got a good defense, both footwork and in head.
Because there's no way
else.
Ennis would fight Crawford how he fought Avanesyan. No way.
No.
Ennis is a boxer. Ennis has called Crawford out.
Yeah. Well, it's the only big fight there, really, isn't it?
Yeah, in that division, it's not like the division of old, is it? When you used to have...
It was great because it was Crawford and Spence
Yeah,
in there, isn't it?
but
And then you had Jacobs and Olico. And
10, 15 years ago, it was Pacquiao, Cotto, Mosley.
Well, even a little bit ago in here, it was good, innit? But all those guys have sort of retired, the ones that were all sort of at that level. And I think it's how good the new up-and-coming ones are. Because most of them are newer names, isn't it?
But he's a big lad as well, though, isn't he? Ennis, he's a big fella.
I don't think they'll fight to 147. I think if he gets a few here, I think they'll fight to 154.
Yeah, because he looks big. He looks like a big.
Well, he made Avanesyan look small.
Yeah, and
Avanesyan isn't that small. I mean, yeah, obviously in height advantage, but he made him look like physically. So I think he could go up to 154 quite easily. And it's not a one punch. Well, he may be a one punch, but in this he wasn't. I think he's got enough about him and the punching where he's wearing you down to go to 154 with his powers. That power will still carry.
Do you think if the belts get fragmented from Crawford, he'll stay at the division to try and pick the belts up?
Yeah. I think he's got time to do it. I don't think Crawford's going to go after the belts at 154, and obviously he's got a tough fight coming up. And then we'll see, how he manages the rise up to 154. I think Ennis might naturally be more better at 154 because he looks like a big 147. And I think that's why he could take the punches relatively easy from Avanesyan because even Avanesyan isn't a bad puncher.
No,
and he caught him with some really good shots. He just didn't seem to rock him, and maybe he was like. Maybe he was sort of lowering his defense to get the shot, allowing him in to get the range and get the holes in the defense. But no, I think he'd go there to get the belts. I think the belts will probably drop unless Crawford's going to come back. We don't know, isn't it? If he stays up there,
I don't think he does.
I think he's got nobody to. He doesn't really need to fight Ennis. Ennis needs to fight him.
Thing is that, like I say, that division, it isn't hot.
Well, we're supposed to be fighting Crowley. Obviously, that for whatever reason he's missed it, and Avanesyan's come in to replace that. So he's probably got that fight in there who's like the 5th rank, the one above Avanesyan.
Well, I think Cody Crawley's is mandatory.
Yeah. And that's why they were making it. And then Avanesyan stepped in and like with
So
a minimal amount of training.
Yeah, he
really
still
as
might
well.
have to fight Cody Crawley or Crowley, however you pronounce
Spence is still in the list, but again, they say, he's stepped up, and I don't think he makes 147 in any. He doesn't want to.
it. Spence,
I think he's going to be 154 as well.
Spence reminds me of Deontay Wilder.
You think he's past it now?
I don't think he's got it anymore. I really, really don't. You've got Barrios, haven't you? There, Mario Barrios.
Yeah. Stanionis and Barrios is the next 3rd and 4th ranked, isn't it?
But
haven't really seen Stanionis. I've seen a little bit of Barrios, but I think he can beat both of them. Well, I don't know about Stanionis. I haven't, like I said,
yeah, well, there was talk. Was it Barrios versus Pacquiao for the WBC belt?
Yeah.
Or something like that. I think we discussed that last time, and I don't want to go back into that because it makes me very angry.
Yeah.
Or do the WBC have Pacquiao versus Ennis?
Yeah. Well, I think that's what they're trying to do. Isn't it? Make it exciting.
I don't know.
Because obviously, if Barrios beats Pacquiao, his as bad as it is, if he beats him, his credentials go up. Because obviously, we know that he's well old and not so much. But I think people who just hear the name, it's Pacquiao, it builds his resume, even though he's older than we are. So it doesn't make sense.
I think Eddie Hearn will have already had a plan for Boots.
Yeah,
and I think it'll have to be Cody Crowley next for the mandatory. I think
he's got work to do at welterweight, isn't it? First,
and then it'll be a trip to Saudi. Although I tell you what, because he filled out that Philly stadium, didn't he? With like 14,000 people there. It was absolutely.
It was
bouncing, apparently. Which you American promoters don't seem to sell out any other stadiums apart from the Shakur Stevens one. That was bouncing, apparently. And there is talk of Shakur Stevens signing with Matchroom as well. But that's a different story. But yeah, I'm not... The welterweight, like I say, I used to love the welterweight division 10, 15 years ago because it was so hot.
Crawford
but it's
in
not.
and proper Spence in, and then you look at all the other names.
Yeah, but
there was
they're not
Thurman,
now.
there was
It's all gone.
Daniel Jacobs and all the other co's. Then it's a really, really, the top 10 was like, other than Crawford and Spence, most of the others would have been champions in most of the divisions, at least one belt champions.
I mean, even before that, like you say.
And then before that, you've got the Pacquiao times.
You had
other
Pacquiao, Cotto, Ricky Hatton.
There's a lot of names in that division.
Mayweather,
and they've just sort of moved on.
Ortiz.
So there's room for somebody to bring it up. And that Ennis has got that chance.
The thing is you can only bring it up if you've got other dance partners. And I don't think that top 10's got great dance partners.
Yeah, well, there's the ones we don't know who are up and coming. They could be good. They could make the name. But of the ones that have had a bit of time there, I think he's the best of that lot fairly easily.
Unless you get lads from the light welterweight division moving up.
Yeah.
But I just...
Well, Lopez has called out Crawford as well, isn't he? Which I think is a bit too far. But maybe that one might be him versus him, because Lopez is big for his weight.
Lopez is
I think Ennis beats him, though.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Eddie Hearn is...
I think Haney's going to stay there, isn't he?
Eddie Hearn...
Who else is in there?
Talks a lot of rubbish sometimes. But I think
it's called marketing.
I think he's on point with this fella, and I can see why he was so excited about him.
Well, we've said a bit before that he is the one. The problem in that division, you were stuck behind two who were really, really big, and now you're coming behind it.
It's a shame.
Got the opportunity to
clear up. It's a shame Crawford and Spence are at the back end of their career. Yeah. Because I think that would have made quite a good trilogy. The three of them, if they'd been in their primes fighting each other.
I think he gives Spence a really good fight. I think he gives Crawford a good fight. I just think Crawford is a level above, as he showed against Spence. I think against any of them, he's a level above. He'll work them out, and that's it. Then he'll end of the story. But I think against any of the others, he's probably... I think him and Spence is about 50-50. I think after that, he can beat most of the others on here. So he can clear up he can become undisputed, allowing for politics.
No, I don't think he can. Yeah, this politics is going to get and Crawford.
Well, after the belt's going,
yeah, and Crawford's belts are going to get in the way. But I tell you something, if Ennis has a massive fight next, say he doesn't fight Cody Crawley but has a massive name, it might tempt Crawford to come. If enough hype gets put around it.
Well, no, I think if he was to step up, I don't think it's the name. I think he's got nothing else to do at 147 because he's been there, done it. He's the undisputed. There's nothing else to do. So he has no reason to fight Ennis. Ennis obviously has a huge reason to fight him because obviously he can beat Crawford, then he is the man, isn't he? So then he's pound for pound list material. But I think...
No, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because, unfortunately...
Although he hasn't gone up in weight, has he? This is his first, is it, weight? Or has he stepped up? I don't know if Ennis is.
I think, unfortunately, you get a few people saying, well, Crawford was at the back end of his career.
And do we care about those people?
No, but I think they did have a point about Crawford now, 35, 36.
Yeah, he's not being primetime Crawford.
Exactly.
So it's still Crawford.
So I don't think,
it's not easy that easy to beat.
I don't think it gives him enough. I don't think he would get...
No, but he'll be in the conversation. He's not going to be pound for pound number one, but he'll be in the conversation. He's got to be in the reckoning for the top 10 if he beats the one who's in the top 3. And the 3 in like their own group, their own ranking between him and Inoue and Usyk.
Whoa,
I think if you beat any of them...
You're missing out Bam, man.
Bam is in the next bracket with Bivol and Beterbiev and Canelo.
Are you wrong? Bam's right back in the top 3 for me.
Mine is in the second bracket. The top 3 is Crawford, Usyk and Inoue. I think for their achievements, because they're the only 3 guys with 2-weight undisputed at the moment, or were. The first, second and the third.
You disappoint me.
Bam is rising up those ranks.
I'm not even getting into this with you.
But that's another video. So yeah, I think he's got a bit more to do at welterweight first. If Crawford stays
no, I think
in 154.
I think what's been great was the marketing was fantastic around him. Fighting in Philly.
We said Hearn is good.
He is great at that. Fighting in Philly, I think there were 14,000 people there. He put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie will have a plan for him.
Mm-hmm.
He'll keep on pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. If people start talking, Terence Crawford, that's only good publicity.
He's been saying this thing
whether
before,
you go like on your side and you go, "Oh, Crawford would do me easy," it doesn't matter. You're still mentioning Jaron Ennis, and that's giving you publicity. So he'll become a big name on publicity side of things straight away. He's still got, like I say, he's still got a lot to prove.
Mm-hmm.
But his performance last night was good.
His professionalism,
I'd give him
expected. It was good. Like I said, other than getting caught a bit too much, it was pretty good. Go on, what
7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd be 7 out of 10. So not that far away.
But I like that because that means I think he's still got another couple of gears he can go through. I think he come out in the first couple of rounds and he was loving the crowd. Big adrenaline rush, right?
Well, no, I like that he started fast. Because you see some of them where they take a bit of time, but he started fast. It sort of started putting them on the back foot, and then we know like Avanesyan comes forward. I think, like I said, the little break gave Avanesyan a little bit of time to readjust, think and readjust, because it was a decent amount of time. I think then he adjusted, but then Ennis sort of readjusted again.
Yeah.
And give him a round, and then he started catching up.
He showed really good professionalism as well.
But he didn't go over the top.
No, I mean, even when he knocked Avanesyan down, when the crowd's screaming like that, it's very easy to go in like a windmill. But no, because Avanesyan didn't look hurt.
No, he wasn't hurt.
To be fair. And
well, Avanesyan caught him with a good punch, but he's just got caught on the fact that he's got hit as well, and he's got the longer reach.
What I liked was Ennis was still calm enough to look at him and go, No,
he's not
don't
going
rush in. You know, just stick to your boxing. Because I don't agree. A lot of people saying he's not an exciting fighter. I think he is an exciting fighter in the fact of the way he puts his punches together.
Watching that fight, I wouldn't have said he isn't an exciting fighter. It was worth watching. The rounds go quickly.
His hand speed is just wow.
Yeah.
And the way he switches from head to body is beautiful.
And
he's not afraid to get in close and have a bit of a tear up.
Well, he's also one of those switch hitters where you can't tell. He just goes, and it's like in the flow, and then you wait a minute, he's standing the other way now. But it doesn't immediately register. He's smooth with it. No, he's very good. I just don't think he's Crawford smooth. I think you never know if Crawford gets older, he's still there. He's getting into his prime. He can. You never know. But I think if it's prime Crawford versus him now, Crawford wins.
I think
but a really good fight. I'd like to see it, to be honest. I just don't think Crawford has any reason to fight him. He has a reason to fight Crawford, unless he gets all the belts.
I mean, you say that about a lot of fighters up and coming. But what I will say is, I think the Americans, get behind this lad, because I think he's going to be your superstar.
Well, he should be the king of the welterweight division if Crawford steps out.
Because Crawford has only got a couple of fights left.
He just wants 2 or 3. He wants his third weight undisputed. So his legacy, it's not money.
You Americans, you've got Bam, Ennis, Shakur, Tank. Get behind them, because these are your next superstars. And they deserve your support.
Well, I think the lightweight division is hot. There's the upcoming ones they've got as well, and Keyshawn and the other guy, Murataya, I think it is. Although he wasn't that great yesterday. Keyshawn was good in his last fight on the Shakur card. Shakur obviously is good, and different types of fighters. Tank, yeah.
Just quickly on Shakur, it's going to be interesting who he signs with.
Yeah. I've seen Eddie sniffing around. I thought he would be. Well, I thought I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
Well, Eddie invited him to the fight, didn't he? I think from what Shakur said, it's between Mayweather and Matchroom. But I'm not being funny. No disrespect. Floyd Mayweather's not a promoter.
Yeah.
Look at what Eddie Hearn's done to Jaron Ennis. I mean, I've heard of Jaron Ennis a few years ago, but not like anything. But this last 6 months,
he's been.
You'd have thought Jaron Ennis was the biggest thing in boxing, the way Eddie Hearn spoke about him. So he is so good at pushing them fighters. So fair play to him. And you know what? Ennis backed it up with a good performance, because it could have quite easily.
Well, it's been about a year since he had a fight, so if you can take that into consideration, it's a pretty.
He could have quite easily, because fighters do get it where they try too hard and then they look bad, they make stupid mistakes, but he done really well.
He didn't fight bad, he came out strong, and I think that little pause helped it, because then, like, Avanesyan adjusted, and then he slowed down a little bit and got a bit more measured in it, and then only piled it on when he got back in control. Yeah, and the good thing
is
it's a good.
It's good matchmaking as well, because Eddie Hearn knows Avanesyan will come to fight.
He's a good test for anybody. Because he gave a good test.
If you put someone in front of Ennis that's just going to try and survive, which you could have picked an opponent to do that at 4 weeks' notice, I think it'd have been a bore fest. But he knows Avanesyan will come to survive. Will come to fight.
He just goes forward, and then he can throw. He caught him as well.
He's ranked in the top 10. And it's a bloody good test. Avanesyan's 35 on the back end of his career, but he always gives everyone a tough fight.
It's a tough fight. Even this was a tough fight. It's just I don't think he had enough time to prepare. 1 and 2. Ennis just put it on pedal to the metal from the first second. So it was tough.
Excited to see him again.
Yeah.
I hope he fights.
I've seen a bit of him before. I knew his name before he was a name, so I've been keeping an eye, because I was keeping an eye on the welterweight, because obviously Crawford's one of my.
I'm hoping he fights again November, December.
Yeah, I don't think that'll have taken that much out of him. I think he can be ready again. I think he'll be on some of these
think
the Saudi cards and the
that's what I'm
things. I think
thinking.
I think Hearn's going to have him on as like his golden boy now.
Push him on to one of the Saudi cards.
That was
possibly.
Wasn't it? I was surprised because it was on the ring, isn't it? Riyadh season. And I thought it hasn't started yet, has it? I didn't know this one was.
Good advertisement, innit? Because he could be... Usyk Fury bill hasn't been fully done, has it? So we could put him on.
There's a few you got to go on, isn't it? There's going to be...
And there's another big Saudi Riyadh season happening, apparently.
There'll be...
That's in the works.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Saudis would entertain Ennis versus Cody Crawley. I don't know.
I don't know how good Crawley is, to be honest.
We shall see. But then, you look at that. And again, I'm just thinking from a Saudi point of view. Say Crawford wins his next fight. Ennis fights a massive name. Spence beat him easily. The Saudis are involved with Crawford now. The Saudis are involved with Matchroom. Crawford Ennis then becomes a big fight in Saudi Arabia.
The thing is only the weight, isn't it? I don't think Crawford's going to go down. I don't think he needs it because I think he's more looking at a fight with Canelo, isn't he? And that's still in the things.
Yeah, but I think
I heard him on it, and I understand why he wants to do that.
Ennis could move up. Although from what I've heard is Canelo's
got planning a fight as well, isn't he? Against somebody.
Apparently he said he'll fight Benavidez now.
Now that he hasn't got that much power. Obviously the fight in that division is Benavidez Canelo. Yeah, we'd like to see that happen. I think Crawford's got work to do at 154. I think he will do. But he's got a tough fight next. But there's other people in that division, isn't it? You've got the Charlo, you've got Fundora, Tim Zhu.
Don't even speak to me about Charlo.
Yeah, I didn't know he's still there. I was just trying to work out which bro is. There's somebody else there in that. Yeah, Virgil Ortiz is in that division as well, isn't he?
I'm just wondering
Kelly,
whether
there's a
don't
few.
don't mention Josh Kelly.
He's still in the list, but he's surprisingly high up in the list.
Yeah, he's got to get past Liam Smith yet, and that ain't no easy feat.
I think if Ennis can get,
I'm wondering if Ennis moves up.
Errol Spence at that weight. Because Spence does have a reason to fight him, because obviously he can then recover a bit of his kudos in that division by beating him. Crawford doesn't have a reason to fight him, but if you beat for Ennis, like Spence is a huge name, isn't it? Either way, that's a big fight. It's only second to Crawford's. So I think if he wins that fight, then then he's definitely on the thing to have a fight against. He's got more of a claim of fighting against Crawford. But I just think Spence is already trying to get into 154. So I think Ennis would have to do 147 and then go to 154. But I think he could do that.
The big one will be is what's Ennis's next fight.
Yeah.
And that'll tell you a lot on where
I think
what's going to happen.
Eddie won't rush him. I think they'll have a few fights there. He can clean up sort of that, even if he's not getting any more belts, clean up some of those positions. See if he can beat the other people there. Like I said, the problem, I think both Errol and Crawford are upper weight. But
Right.
I think he could, if he can't get any more belts and stuff, I think he can go up. He's big enough to do it. Looks like it.
Okay, I'll throw a little curveball in.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the top British welterweight?
Should have not seen the name I was going to say. Conor Benn?
Who's Conor Benn's promoter?
Yeah, that'd be a good fight.
Would Eddie Hearn do it though?
Well, they were talking about him against somebody else, wasn't it? Not Ennis. One of these other ones, wasn't he?
Was it Ortiz?
I think Ortiz, isn't it? Or what's the other guys?
Can't
Ortiz is a weight above, isn't it? Yeah, they were talking about him jumping up in weight, isn't it?
I mean, well, actually, from what I heard, Eddie Hearn did an interview the other day, because there was talk about Eddie Hearn has been speaking to Chris Eubank Jr. About signing him. Chris Eubank Jr. wanted 2 warm-up fights, and then Canelo. Because apparently there's talk of this Canelo fight happening next, and that's Eddie Hearn was like, no, because Junior wants 2 warm-up fights. But Eddie Hearn basically offered him 2 warm-up fights and Conor Benn. So I think Eddie Hearn's big thing for Conor Benn is still the Chris Eubank Jr. fight.
Okay.
Would he risk putting Conor Benn and Ennis together? Not yet, I don't think.
I think after that. If that's his big plan, I don't think...
Maybe in 12 months. Both on the same stable. It's an easy fight to make. I think Conor Benn's got to do what he needs to do with his British boxing board control, have a couple more fights against some big names, and then he can talk about...
Then I think it becomes a...
Yeah.
likelihood.
But that's one to watch out for. But yeah, let's see. Like I say, the next one's the interesting one. Who he tries and gets Boots Ennis in with next.
Well, Barrios has got one of the belts, isn't he? WBC.
Has he though?
Stanionis, yeah, he's world welterweight champion. So they've taken
He's
that one
not
off
in
Crawford.
one.
Crawford's WBA and WBO champion.
He's
And
not one of them
obviously
WBC in recess international intercontinental champion things, is he?
Well, I don't know what that is. That was on one of the fights. I don't know what it is.
I just made that up, by the way.
Yeah. No, the WCB world welterweight champion is Mario Barrios. And then that's Stanionis, Amantis Stanionis is the WBA world welterweight champion. So that's like the interim super world welterweight is Crawford. So they're like the other fights, isn't it? So there's them. Boots is now IBF world champion. And you got Brian Norman Jr., who's the interim on the WBO.
Just quickly on belts.
Who's just below Avanesyan on rank.
Have you heard the rumours that the Saudis are going to do their own belt for weight divisions?
Well, weren't they trying to buy everybody and the dog and just make it one?
Do you know what? I love the idea that there's just one champion. I think that's because you are definitively then the best in that division. Mm-hmm. If you're the champion and there's only one belt, you're the best in that division. When there's 4 belts, and there's not even 4 belts anymore, because like I say, I think the WBA have a WBA regular champion, a WBA super champion. The WBC have the WBC like gold belts, and it's just absolute joke-a-thon.
Well, no, I think from the point of view, because if you only have one, there's only one per each. I can understand why they haven't. The problem is that they don't try and make undisputed where it is the one. Yeah. It's one champion, but realistically, there should be like one. Like, that's why like Crawford is good, Inoue is good.
Do you know the IBF, which I like the IBF because you've got to fight your mandatory, and if you don't fight your mandatory, they take the belt off you. Whereas the WBC, you can keep hold of that belt for 2 years and not have a fight, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think the WBC, because it's a bigger belt, they do the name and the thing, and they want to keep the name. I mean, the IBF are good. I think it's in little bits where I disagree with it when it's obvious rematches and other things for undisputed.
Yeah. But if you remember,
if you unified,
if you remember, like
ducking,
like years ago when it was Klitschko, and there were a lot of people saying, "Oh, the people he was fighting weren't the best," but they were his mandatories because. He didn't want to give up his belt, so he fought his mandatories. And if you're a boxer and you've got into a mandatory position, you want that chance to fight for it. So I think that is good in that way. But the Saudis having a belt, would it catch on, or would it just be another? Would it make it 5
I think it's
belts?
difficult for them to buy all the 4. I mean, they got the money, they could do it.
It's not difficult, is it really?
If all of them
Look at what they've done with golf.
Yeah, they can. But I think in the boxing, there's enough interested parties and to keep all the sort of kingdoms running as well as the Saudi kingdom that they'll want to keep it like it is a little bit. But I think, the Saudis having their own belt probably will catch on because people want to fight there. It's obviously very lucrative. You know, if you're going to get punched in the face, you might as well get a few more million quid than less.
But the thing is, the Saudis now, they're not just staying in Saudi. They're in America in a few weeks. They're in London after that. There's talks about going to Japan, Australia. So they are.
No, I think the vision of doing it is a bit more like a fan would do it, like we would want to make it, than people who are just interested in making money out of it or just their own politics. I think the fact that they want trying to make the big fights happen is even if they're ridiculous, trying to make them happen is the cool part of it. So and they have made them happen, which is so. I think they've been a good thing for the sport. So I'm with that. But I think coming back to like fighting up and comers, I think Ennis there's enough there, because if you've got the belts in, you've got an interim one champion in Stanionis, you've got an actual belt holder in Barrios. Crowley's probably, if he's a mandatory, I think there's there's 3 or 4 fights there if he can't get one of the bigger names. And I think all them make sense because you're just stamping that I'm the man in this division. And then, Stanionis is unbeaten. Barrios, all right, he's got 2 defeats, but he's still 29-2. And Crowley's unbeaten 22-0, isn't it? So, and then there's Brian Norman Jr., isn't it, who's 26-0. So I think there's enough fights there to get him up to the level if he can't get a Crawford. If you can get a Spence, I think that's the best fight out there.
Spence,
but I think Spence is really looking at 154.
It's a good name. I don't think it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
it's a good like step for him, because if he wins, then he's got the kudos of that name. Mate, Errol Spence is still if he beat,
if he beats Spence, he goes from here to here very, very quickly. Yeah, whether Spence is done or not,
it doesn't matter. It's
your name will go.
The resume building.
Yeah.
So the others don't build. Beating all the others, he doesn't build his resume as much as beating Spence. No. But that's just the way it is. But I think he's got enough fights there that make it into, and then there's some other ones coming up. So I think if you take in them, that's what he'd do rather than get a Crawford. I think Crawford's only going to stop if he either one gets beat, which could happen. He's getting old, but I don't think so. And I think he's only going to do 2-3 fights, so that may get missed in the water. But I think if Crawford gets out the way, he's got a good chance, and he's got a good step up. If he cleans the welterweight division out, he's got a good step up to the 154.
They're like, again,
and I think he'd give any of them a good go as well.
The likes of Crawford and Canelo and things like that. You talk about Canelo, Benavidez, Crawford, Ennis. It's one of them is if they fight, if Canelo fights Benavidez, Crawford fights Ennis, even if they both won, it'd be like, yeah, but he'd never proved himself. But they both know, it's a young up-and-comer. It's going to be a bloody tough fight for quite little reward. So I understand why they'd stay away from that. It was like how Joe Calzaghe couldn't be bothered fighting Carl Froch.
No, but I think that's a bit... I think that's a difference between them two. Difference between Benavidez and Canelo is Benavidez got nowhere else to go. He wants belts. He wants the opportunity to fight for belts, and he's probably the best of the rest. So the obvious fight for Canelo at that weight is Benavidez, and I think because of the time it's been, that's more the frustration of that fight not going on. I think Boots Ennis hasn't got to the position where he's in that. The only fight is Crawford. I think he's got, like I said, Spence is a better fight, I think, than Crawford for him. And there's other people that he's still got to get belts for. He hasn't got, Crawford got all the belts. He has no reason to fight anybody, and he's going up in weight. It's not like he's sticking and holding the belts and Ennis can't get a belt. Ennis now has a belt. And then Barrios has a belt and other people have belts. I think he needs to chase them before he goes after Crawford. Because if he wants to keep his O, I don't think he fights Crawford.
But no, the thing is, I said to you when we discussed it last week, I said to you, I guarantee he'll call out Crawford.
Yeah, obviously he's going to call. It's the only name to call out, isn't it? But because Crawford's still got 2 of the belts, so in that division, he's the person to call out, and he's the name. But he's not really in that division now. He's gone up. So I think.
Yeah, but again, what it might also do
is Spence really
is it might just make if you're saying, look, I want these belts, right? Well, you either fight me or you give them up.
Yeah. I think he's going to give up the belt, isn't it? I don't think they're going to be. There, like I said, unless he gets beat by Madrimov, and then then maybe he'll be back.
Watch the space.
Step too far. Yeah, I think. Cool. So, but yeah, I think summarize. good performance. I think he's got fights in that division. So he's if you take Spence and Crawford out, he's the man in that division, isn't it? In welterweight, I think the man to beat.
Exciting times for Mr. Ennis.
So I think there's plenty of fights there. And
Jump on the train while it's moving fast and keep them big fights. Get some more big fights going for him. Get him back in the ring November, December. Good fighter, top 10 again.
He's not there yet, but he can be, I think. He's got to do something in his division before. I think it's disrespectful to a lot of other fighters to say he's top 10 when they've done way, 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 way more in all the different weight classes. To put him in that bit, I don't think he's there yet.
No,
but he could be. I think he's potentially there.
He will be.
Yeah. Well, he's got the opportunity. Like I said, I don't think Crawford and Spencer in that are going to stay there. They've really jumped up a weight. So he's the man in that division.
Like I say, rightfully or wrongfully, I don't count Spence in it.
Yeah.
For some reason.
What I mean is he's out of it one way or another. He's either not going to fight there, but I don't think he's fighting at 147. Anyway, he's either going to retire or he's jumping up. Crawford, I don't think is going to come back down now anyway. He's up. So then he's got the chance to go out, and then there's 4 or 5 people there coming up that he's got. A few have belts or the interim. I think that's where his next set of fights are. And then, and we'll see what he does.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm. And now he'll end up fighting bloody Canelo or somebody. He'll be like, what? Eddie Hearn is that good.
No, sorry, just quickly. I heard or seen a little piece and then had a little research. If Crawford wins, his next fight would be against possibly Errol Spence in a unification fight.
But I think Spence has to beat one of the
I think guys. Spence is he's going to Costa Zoo fight, isn't he?
Yeah, he tried with Fundora, and then he's tried with Tim Tszyu, and who else was it? The guy he's supposed to be fighting, Virgil Ortiz.
Well, Tszyu Fundora fighting again, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And Spencer basically said he wants the winner.
Yeah.
If he gets the winner, it could be a Spence Crawford rematch.
I think that doesn't happen at 147. I think it's a 154.
Yeah, of course it's a 154 fight because for the 154 belts.
Yeah. But Spence, there's also Fundora. If he goes after the belts, there's Boachuk and Fundora, isn't it? Who are the 2 of the belt holders?
I think he'll go for...
Because I don't know if Charlo's still got a belt, hasn't he? Have they taken him all?
Talk about Charlo.
Yeah, he's only the... He did have the belts, but I think Fundora's got 2. Madrimov's got 1 and Boachuk's got 1. Yeah. So I think...
Watch this space. Interesting times ahead.
And then Virgil Ortiz is the other one in that. And I think Ortiz, there's talk of Tim Tszyu and Virgil Ortiz.
Well, no, I'm sure Tim Tszyu's fighting Fundora next.
Oh, is he? Gone back?
Yeah, I'm sure and that's in...
Well, there was a rematch, but they were just saying because of the injuries.
No, I'm sure it's been made. It might be wrong. Let us know in the comments. Some of you guys are in the know. But I'm sure Tim Tszyu Fundora is definitely happening.
And Fundora. Well, the next division, there's a few people, isn't there? Tim Tszyu rematch.
We shall see.
Yeah, it's not going to happen in Australia, but it will probably go ahead.
There's going to be some big fights in Australia soon. Quickly, just to let you know. Liam Poirot.
Anyway, yeah, let us know. Because there was, and then they were saying there isn't, and then they're saying now it could be again. Because obviously that was there was a rematch clause, so there should have been a rematch.
Oh God, you know what? Tim Tszyu's fighting Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, it's on August the 4th, isn't it, on the Crawford card? Sorry, absolute
and I think
donut.
Spence was hunting either Fundora or the winner of them, isn't he?
But I don't know whether I don't think it's for a belt, is it?
No, because neither of them got a belt.
Unless the WBC make one for them, which they
Well, I think there was some talk they want to take one away from Fundora, isn't it? Because he can't fight, or he's got to do what he's not fighting Tim Tszyu. Not Tszyu, keep me to say Tim Tszyu. So, yeah, anyway, they're ones for another another video. But yeah, let us know what you think and who you think Ennis is going to fight. Any comments on the fight? Do you think he beats Crawford or not? You've heard our opinions. What do you think? Or Spence either, actually. And who do you think he should go after next? Who do you think Eddie's going to ring
Is
for
he
him?
the real deal?
Is he the man at welterweight? And
Let us know.
We'll leave it there. See you in the next one. Like, subscribe, comment, the usual goodness. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.